Hello, everyone, and welcome to another evening here with us on our YouTube channel, Tuesday evening. We're going to carry on as usual. Now, we've got one last excerpt left from Rising Above Reason, and then we're going to move on to Working in Faith Above Reason. Okay, so this was Rising Above Reason. Now we're going to go into Faith Above Reason. But after this last excerpt 11, if you're new to the YouTube channel, please feel free to go to Kabbalah.info. Where you'll find a lot of excerpts, a lot of material, translated material as well. You can also visit the Kabu Academy if you're interested in learning the wisdom of Kabbalah. All right, so let's get started as usual. So excerpt number 11. This is from the article concerning above reason. When the evil inclination comes and shows him the lowliness of the friends, he should go above reason. But certainly, it would be better and more successful if he could see within reason that the friends are at a higher degree than his own. With that, we can understand the prayer that Rav Elimelech had written for us. That our hearts see the virtues of our friends and not their faults. Okay, let's read that again. When the evil inclination comes and shows him the lowliness of the friends, he should go above reason. All right, so oftentimes we always see, well, not often, but all the time actually, our nature is to see faults in others. All right, we don't see any fault in ourselves. We like to see the world change, but we don't like to see our own selves change. So we have a bit of a problem. If you're going to study the wisdom of Kabbalah, you have to see yourself as a bad person, and you have to see the rest of the friends as already exalted and great, and already in their correction, actually. Okay, does that make sense? It should make sense if you're studying with us, because if you want to get out of yourself, then you're going to have to reduce yourself. Failure to do so will keep you in your current perception. But certainly it would be better and more successful if we could see within reason that the friends are at a higher degree than our own. So if I can't see the friends great, I need to go above reason. But Rabash is saying, well, there's a state that is a little better than that. And that's if within reason you could see them great. Okay? So this is a problem for a lot of people. And what can I tell you? Just something that needs to be overcome. With that, we can understand the prayer of Rav Elimelech had written for us, that our hearts see the virtues of our friends and not their faults. So when I look at the friends, I should only see their good traits. I shouldn't see any bad in them. If I see any bad, what does that mean? It means I got bad. Okay, so if I see a fault in a friend, it means I'm faulty. And everybody needs to understand that this is how it is. Why? Because we learned from the perception of reality that we perceive the world according to our own traits. So if I see something bad in the world, it means that I have a bad character. Okay? Right, yeah. Now, any questions about this one? Yes, no, okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to working with faith above reason. So these are again selected excerpts. And oh, yeah, they are selected excerpts. Okay, let's go. This is from Rabash, The Meaning of Truth and Faith. We were given the path of faith, which is above reason. Namely, not to take our sensations and reason into account, but say, as it is written, they have eyes and see not. They have ears and hear not. Rather, we should believe that the Creator is certainly the overseer, and he knows what is good for me and what is not good for me. Therefore, he wants me to feel my state as I do. And for myself, I do not care how I feel myself, because I want to work in order to bestow. Therefore, the main thing is that I need to work for the Creator. And although I feel that there is no wholeness in my work, still in the kelim of the upper one, meaning from the perspective of the upper one, I'm utterly complete. As it is written, the outcasts will not be cast out from him. Hence, I'm satisfied with my work, that I have the privilege of serving the king, even at the lowest degree. That too I regard as a great privilege, that the Creator has allowed me to come closer to him, at least to some degree. Let's read it a second time. We were given the path of faith, which is above reason, namely, not to take our sensations and reason into account, but say, as it is written, they have eyes and see not. Okay, so why is this important? Now look, in the normal world, we look at the world and we work according to what we understand. Okay, what I think, what I believe, what I know, blah, blah, blah. If you want to remain at that same level for the rest of your eternal life, you can carry on doing that. Okay, but if you want to elevate yourself to a higher level, you've got to go above what you are. If you don't go to your current state, or if you don't aspire to go to your current state plus one, nothing's going to change. Okay, in order for that to happen, you have to understand that what you know now is equal to 0. Because if what you know now could have helped you, you would have already elevated yourself. And because it hasn't helped you and you're still stuck, you need the mind of someone else from a higher level. And that's called going above reason. All right? That needs to make sense to everybody, because if it doesn't make sense, you're going to have a problem going above reason. This is why the Kabbalists are saying they have eyes and see not. They have ears and hear not. So they can't really, a regular person with their current mind cannot make sense of the next level they're supposed to rise up to. This is why, if you want to rise in spirituality, you have to forget what you know, and you have to take upon yourself what someone from a higher level knows. This is exactly how kids grow. So if you cannot behave like a good child, your progress is going to be hindered. All right. So this is an important approach. It doesn't mean you don't have to stop thinking or anything. Obviously, we're always using our mind. Okay? But you've got to use it in order to evaluate what you did according to the advice you took from the higher level, not according to what you see now. Right? Why? Because you can only evaluate it when you go through a change. You can only use your mind to evaluate a state when you go through a change, and then you can compare, this was me yesterday, I did what the Rav said, and now this is me today. So there's a difference. Okay, that difference between yesterday and today is the evaluation I can do. Now I can evaluate. Why? Because I took the advice, I applied it, I went through changes, now I can see differences. For that, I can use my mind. Rather, we should believe that the Creator is certainly the overseer, and he knows what is good for me and what is not good for me. Okay, so this should be obvious to all of us. All right, there's a life in front of us, and things happen according to a plan. And I have to go with what's happening. Can't change the world. I can only change how I relate to the world. So there's no use in complaining about my life, your life, his life, her life. There's no point in complaining about him or her or whatever. It just doesn't make sense to complain because you can't change anyone. Okay? So what do we have to do? We have to understand that we're living in a system, and this system has its own rules. And you either learn the rules and go with the flow, or do whatever. Okay? And that is generally getting slapped around by life, basically. And that's it. There are two ways to live. You're either going to take the mind of someone who's more developed to raise yourself to their level. You're going to carry on living the way you've always done and go through sufferings. There are no other paths in life. There are just two ways to live, and that's it. That's all. You either learn and elevate yourself so you can have a better life, or you go with life and you get slapped around from life. That's it. One's called the path of light, the other one's called the path of suffering. Therefore, he wants me to feel my state as I do, and for myself. I do not care how I feel myself, because I want to work in order to bestow. As you can see, Kabbalists have a very pragmatic approach. They don't care about how they feel. It's not a part of their interest. They're not bothered or interested about how their body feels, whether they feel good or bad, irritated, agitated. They just don't care. Why? Because they focus on the job. They feel they've got a job to do, which is to bestow to the Creator. So they do things in order to achieve that goal. And what happens in between, what they go through, they don't care about. Right? Does that make sense? That's called, in the 21st century, focus. All right? So they have good focus. Therefore, the main thing is that I need to work for the Creator. And although I feel that there is no wholeness in my work, still in the kelim of the upper one, meaning from the perspective of the upper one, I am utterly complete, as it is written. The outcast will not be cast out from him. So even if a person hasn't attained anything in spirituality, nothing, doesn't matter. Because you can only act from the level you're in. And since the Creator created you, you can only do so much. Therefore, if you focus your effort and work on what you're supposed to do from the perspective of the Creator, because you're doing the best you can, you'll always be perfect. Because you're doing what you can. Okay? Hence, I'm satisfied with my work that I have the privilege of serving the king even at the lowest degree. Now, this is obviously at a person who is at a degree, but let's say I have no degree. I'm in Timbuktu and have no idea what I'm doing. All right? Nothing. What can I do? I take the advice of the Kabbalists, who says, listen, this is our nature, and it's bad. And they explain why it's bad. And you begin to understand and see that it is bad. Okay, because nobody told you that you were bad before. All right, because everybody told you, oh, you're such a cute little person. Coochie coochie. Okay, well, we've come to the conclusion, after studying a little bit of Kabbalah, that we are all a desire to receive pleasure for ourselves. And that's being a rotten egg. Now, then we study a little bit so we understand where they're coming from, because it gets revealed to us that we are rotten eggs and we have a bad odor. So what do we need to do? So even in that bad state, if I'm doing what I can to be a little bit better than what I am, then that's already great work, because nobody else in the world is doing anything to change themselves. So from the Creator's perspective, we're all doing a big job. So if I do my best, because I received an opportunity to do that change, then I should feel already very privileged. I hope you recognize the value of that privilege, because there are 8 billion people, and I can promise you 8 billion people are not going to be studying and getting that privilege. We good? Any questions, any dramas? We do have a drama, do we? One drama. Ingrid's asking what to do if one just wants to stay in bed and do nothing anymore because nothing seems attractive anymore. Oh, that sounds like me several years ago. Let me just lie down and somebody just wake me up when it's all over. Yes, I can relate to that. What to do? Well, we can't stay in that mode forever. We've got to snap out of it. Okay, but I understand where you're coming from. Not even studying Kabbalah or meeting friends, listening to lessons, that's true. Times like this, a person needs to turn to the Creator. Because times like these, we understand that only the Creator can help us and nobody else. So it's very important these times. Well, you're not in a too bad of a situation, Ingrid, because you're still listening to a lesson, aren't you? Yeah. Despite the fact that even that's amazing, isn't it? You want to lie down, forget about everything, just shut down all systems, just breathe, and that's it. Don't touch me. I understand. But even when you're in that state, how great is the Creator? He brings you to a lesson, and he allows you to hear things from Kabbalists that can shed a little bit of light into how we need to go forward. See, the Creator doesn't leave anybody alone. He's always with us. The question is, are we going to take that step forward like he's taking a step towards us? Times like these, he's calling us, actually. He's saying, hey, Ingrid, stop lying down over there. Come over here. Let's have a bit of a chat. And this is the time we need to talk to the Creator. Really open up your heart. Really spill all the beans on the table. Get it off your chest. What's bothering you? Where do you need help? What's going on with you? Just open up. It really helps. It really helps. So yeah, the answer to that question is to turn to the Creator. But I hear you. And it's the right, correct situation to be in every now and then. And it's also good to see you in a lesson, despite the fact that you are in such a state. Because even though I was in such states as well, and many times too, not once, multiple occasions, I never missed a lesson. Never, ever. Even when I was traveling and it was different time zones, I always used to get the tickets that I'd be at the airport so I can turn on the internet and listen to the lesson, just in case. It was always like that. Or if I couldn't, I'd always listen to the recording, or I'd download it and take it to the plane and listen to it on the plane and somehow catch up. So, since I started studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, I can't say I've had one day in all those 22 years, not one day without a lesson. Always coming to the lesson, making sure I start with a new page and start all over. Okay. Now here's this excerpt number 2 is for you. It says, Ba'al Salam. This is from, what is the reason for the heaviness one feels when annulling before the Creator in the work? Okay. The essence of one's work is only to come to feel the existence of the Creator. Meaning, to feel the existence of the Creator, that the whole earth is full of His glory, and this will be one's entire work. That is, all the energy one puts into the work will be only to achieve this and nothing else. One should not be misled into having to acquire anything. Rather, there's only one thing a person needs: faith in the Creator. He should not think of anything, meaning that the only reward that he wants for his work should be to be rewarded with faith in the Creator. All right, so let's read that again. The essence of one's work is only to come to feel the existence of the Creator, meaning to feel the existence of the Creator, that the whole earth is full of His glory. So I need to come to such a state, or my objective needs to be to come to such a state that whatever happens to me, anything, it's all with me and the Creator in reality, and that's it. So that's the state we're aiming for. And this will be one's entire work. That is, all the energy one puts into the work will be only to achieve this and nothing else. So I'm focused, like we just read in the previous excerpts. A Kabbalist just wants to achieve the goal. This is why he's above his sensations. He's not worried about, I'm having a bad day today. It's like, like you say that to a Kabbalist, it's like talking about, okay? Why? Because we're not there. There is no bad day, good day, this day, but that day. It doesn't matter what day. The important thing is, am I going through changes to get closer to the Creator? That's all. Everything else is irrelevant. Everything else is an outcome of the Creator's actions on me, which I need to use in order to move forward, including my feelings. They also come from the Creator. Why? Because they come from life's events. And who is behind life? The Creator is behind life. That's why we say there's no one else besides him. So whatever happens, it doesn't really matter what happens. What happens is how I relate to what happens. That's the important thing. How I relate to what is happening to me. That is all the energy one puts into the work will be only to achieve this and nothing else. One should not be misled into having to acquire anything. Rather, there's only one thing a person needs: faith in the Creator. So everything else about getting whatever you want in life.
2 hours, 30 minutes completed. 1,023 kilocalories.
I have no idea what that is, but that's probably Altan playing with my phone. Right, yeah, just bear with me. Let's stop that. Okay. There you go. Can't leave your phone anywhere nowadays. One should not be misled into having to acquire anything. Rather, there's only one thing a person needs: faith in the Creator. Faith in the Creator means acquiring bestowal. Okay? We want to acquire the attribute of bestowal. This is why I don't want to be stuck in what I feel. I want to work above what I feel. Because if I'm stuck within what I feel, I can never bestow. You need to understand that this is how it is. Because I'm stuck in myself. I cannot bestow if I'm thinking about myself. So he should not think of anything, meaning that the only reward that he wants for his work should be to be rewarded with faith in the Creator. So our only goal is to bestow to the Creator, and that's all. End of story. That is the only goal that we have. All right. Any questions? You guys stop me, yeah? Excerpt number 3. This is from Rabash as well. What does it mean that one should bear a son and a daughter in the work? The work above reason should be unconditional surrender. That is, one should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. Though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work. Nevertheless, I'm willing to work with all my might, as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work, and I'm willing to work unconditionally. At that time, a person can go forward, and then there is no place for him to fall from his state, since he takes upon himself to work even when he's placed right in the earth, since it is impossible to be lower than the earth. Let's read that again. The work above reason should be unconditional surrender. That is, one should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. So the work must be above reason, which means I don't know what I'm getting or if I'm really engaging in spirituality correctly. Okay, we don't know if we're studying correctly or not. We don't. It's for many things in life, it's the same thing. When we engage in something, we don't really know if we're doing it right and so on. Okay, we just start. Even if you start any sport, any hobby, anything, right? You start your profession, you don't know if you're doing things right or not. So you got someone like a manager, supervisor, whatever, they guide you, don't they? Until you start doing it. So, but if you want to be I don't know, if you want to be a doctor, let's say, right? You also have to go above reason. They say, yeah, you got to cut this up, cut it up, stitch it up. And it's okay. So you've never done it before. Okay. But you understand as a doctor, this is what you're going to have to do. So you do what they tell you to do. Okay. And that's just how it is. So a person should say, I want to be a servant of the Creator, even though I have no idea about the work and feel no flavor in the work. Obviously, Creator doesn't need a servant. Being a servant of the Creator means being a servant of the attribute of bestowal, because currently we are the servants and slaves of our desire to receive. This is why we're running around on the planet like a bunch of cockroaches, trying to find fulfillments all over the place and not being very successful. So the Creator doesn't need anyone to be a servant. This simply means that a person needs to be in a level where he's bestowing. And now he's, instead of being a servant of his desire to receive pleasure for himself, he's a servant of bestowal. And how should he do that? Even though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work, nevertheless, I'm willing to work with all my might as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work. And I'm willing to work unconditionally. Why? Because if I have a desire to attain something, I can be willing. This is why increasing the desire for spirituality, increasing its importance, is fundamental if you want to get into the mental state of willing to work with all my might as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work. And I'm willing to work unconditionally. You cannot get into that state if something is not important enough. All right. This is why we work in a group, so we can raise the importance of the goal. And if something is important enough for us by the help of the environment, then that's it. I can work unconditionally. At that time, a person can go forward. And then there is no place for him to fall from his state, since he takes upon himself to work even when he's placed right in the earth, since it is impossible to be lower than the earth. Okay, and if something is important, it doesn't matter what state we're in, we can still get up and go. Just like a person who might be sick, but gets up and looks after the kids. All right, so they can't feed themselves. So let's say the mum's not feeling well and dad's at work. She still has to get up, take care of the kids. Why? Because they're important. So this is why having a family is very important in the wisdom of Kabbalah. So you don't understand these things, and then you can't relate to the topic of how can I do something that I don't want to do? Right? You just can't relate to it. It just sounds theoretical. Why should I do something I don't want to do? Why should I do something I can't do? Or if I'm tired, why do I need to do something? Because you're not compelled to think about anybody else. because you're only thinking about yourself when you're on your own. You got nobody else to worry about. So you can't relate to these things when you're studying the articles. This is why having loved ones around, or family at least, is important. So you can say, I take care of the kids pretty much unconditionally. I have to. Why? Well, otherwise what's going to happen to them? Okay. Who's going to take care of them? So these kind of things are important to relate to in life. Excerpt number 4. We've got a question. Questions. Mahir is asking, hi dear teacher, as we go beyond reason with faith, will we always equate faith with the act of bestowal? Yeah, faith is bestowal. Okay, so it's just at a higher degree. So the bigger the act of bestowal, the more I'm bestowing in higher degrees, the higher the faith I have. Farhat is asking, can we say that a person's ability to approach to the friends in the group, not with his ego, but with the love he feels for them under all circumstances, is a result or example of faith above reason? Yeah. If I don't have any conditions, under all circumstances, I just keep approaching the friends with love, that's going above reason as best you can in your current situation. That's good. That's good. Isake is asking, in the 10, how can we be really precise about what our spiritual work is here versus corporeal work, so that we can raise the importance of spirituality? It's very difficult to be really precise about our spiritual work, simply because we don't know what spirituality is when we're working. So the biggest dilemma for us is always, what is spirituality? How will I know if I am in spirituality? What does it mean to be in spirituality? How does it feel to be spiritual? What does it mean to be above reason? How am I supposed to connect with somebody else? What is connection with somebody else? How am I supposed to turn to the Creator? You see, look, we're learning all the time, but every time we have, something else that pops up. Okay, and this is precisely how it should be, because without these dilemmas and so forth, we don't have room to grow. So a bit of blurriness, fogginess, misunderstanding or not understanding has to happen on the path. What is important to do, what is important for us to do, is to hold on to that framework of study, so that every day I've got something that I'm hearing to, listening to, doing. Okay, so that helps a lot. That also increases the importance as well, because I'm investing every day, even though I may not want to, but I am doing it. So the only way to get sharp is to connect with the friends more and more, so that you can see you going through new feelings. If you're going through new states, new feelings, that's already advancement. Even if it's bad feelings, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is we need to feel that we're going through changes in life. Okay. Now, when you say corporeal work, is that work on the, like your corporeal work on the outside, yeah? Like what you need to do in life outside of spirituality. That we have to do whatever everybody needs to do to take care of their corporeal life. Okay, this is why we all have a job, we all have family, work. We live just like everybody else. And this is very important for a student of Kabbalah and for a Kabbalist. We live just like everybody else does in the world. Family, kids, work, running around from here and there, and try to make a living. That's just how it is. Okay, it's just how it is. So, being a part of the overall society or humanity, it's very important for us, because through that we can also get coarseness, and that coarseness will also be further material for us to work on top of. In our work, we're trying to practice feeling the Creator is the cause of everything in all states, so that it becomes our normal way and permanent way of thinking and feeling. Well, I don't know if it's going to be permanent at one state, but it's only going to, even in the final correction, we don't know if it's permanent. And I'm not there, so I don't know, right? But in spirituality, we should have some contact point, which should be permanent, but that understanding of that contact point changes. All right, as you grow in spirituality, your connection, the understanding, the feeling with the Creator, that changes, and that's how it needs to be as well if we're growing. Ingrid's asking, if I do only what is important to me, then where's my effort? Well, your effort is when you're doing things that you don't want to do. Effort can only be against my desire. So what is against your desire? Well, we all like to read, learn new things and so on. But when it comes to connecting, doing things for others, it's sometimes a bit of a problem, huh? So the real resistance in spirituality is, what's really stopping us is we want to connect, but we see in our nature that it doesn't want to do that. So I'm happy to do everything. Give me translations, give me this, give me that. I see a lot of people doing a lot of work. It's not spiritual stuff. Spiritual stuff is in connection. So why are we doing all that stuff? Well, we're doing all that stuff because if we didn't have that, we'd all be running away by now. Because all that corporeal stuff, it keeps us on track. Okay, why? Because I feel responsible for the friends. I feel like I got responsibilities. I want to get that responsibility done. So I go home and then I come back the next day and so on. So the things we do help us to stay on track. But the real work of spirituality is connection. And that is where we need to always direct ourselves to. So, Isokay is asking, she's asking, corporeal in the 10. Well, corporeal in the 10, we need to do that stuff, right? Like, for example, we're having a lesson today. Okay, so this is a corporeal thing, a lesson. We're learning what to do, how to connect, how to relate to the work. And then we've got friends here at the education center helping us out, making sure we've got the broadcast happening, everything is going smoothly. You see, they're sacrificing their Wednesday evening for us. Tuesday evening, sorry. Right, so we're on a Tuesday. So yesterday, they also did the same thing. Tomorrow, they will also do the same thing. Because we have broadcasts. When do we have broadcasts? We've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 nights a week, we have broadcasts. So imagine that. We've got friends 5 nights out of the 7 of the week are working for the benefit of other people. That keeps a person on track. That increases the importance of the goal for a person. Why? Because I'm doing things all the time for somebody else. I'm investing in helping others. It keeps me on the track. So it's very important for us to do corporeal stuff. Yeah. When I used to live in Sydney, Australia, we used to have meals on Saturdays, and none of us missed it. Every Saturday we were all there because we felt like, we were committed to the group. The Saturday, it was the group meal. Now think about it. We're together 7 days a week in the morning lessons. All right. So we see each other every day. On Wednesday nights, we had pizza night. Okay, I wasn't teaching then. This was like in 2002. So Wednesday was pizza night. So we all, after work, everybody came to the center. We ordered a pizza from downstairs and had a pizza night. And then we all went home, came back to the morning lesson after. And then, yeah, that was it. On Friday mornings, we had breakfast at Speedo's on Bondi Beach. All right, so on Fridays after the lesson, we'd all go down to Bondi Beach because we were close to Bondi Beach. Everybody was living close to Bondi Beach, right? So, yeah, we used to go to the beach, have a walk, have a breakfast, and then we'd head home, and then everybody would just go to work on Friday. While we're doing all that stuff, we eat together, we learn together, we prepare food for each other, because on Saturday we prepared food. So everybody brought something, whatever they did at home. So we all shared what the friends did, and we had a good Saturday. We ate, we drank, we sang, we read a little bit, and it was all good. Okay, so all of those things are actually good for us because we're doing things to connect. We're eating together, we're talking about spirituality, why spirituality is important. We're building a connection, we're building a bond around something common. Right? So we all have a common goal. And around that common goal, we're like all holding ourselves, connecting with each other, and we're just focusing on the goal. So whatever we do, just love our friends so that we can elevate ourselves above our self-love. That's it. So this kind of stuff is really recommended. It'll really bring you all together. Also, if you take some responsibility in like dissemination or anything to serve the group is a really good idea. Okay. All righty. All right, so that's 8:50. That's what you guys want to call tonight. That's all the questions, yeah? We're done with the questions. Okay. All good. Do we finish everything, yeah? Asli? Just one? How come I can't see?
I think we skipped one question. That's Isok's question.
I answered that one.
And Ingrid sent another question.
Ingrid, okay, so that's... I answered Isok's question.
I think I wrote it down. Isoko, in our work, we're trying to practice. It starts with in our work, we try. Do you want to copy and paste?
In our work, it's okay, I got it. I got it. In our work, we're trying to practice feeling the creator is the cause of everything. Okay, I answered this question, yeah?
I'm sorry. Okay, then we have one Ingrid's question. Why virtual tense connections is cutting?
Why virtual tense connections is cutting off almost all the corporeal bond. What to do? Yeah, it's a bit of a problem, but we can only do our best. Remember, we just read in the article, what does it say? It says, I don't care about the conditions, I just care about the work. All right, look what it says. The work above reason should be unconditional surrender. That is, one should take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. And a person should say, I want to be a servant of the Creator, even though I have no idea about the work and I feel no flavor in the work. Nevertheless, I'm willing to work with all my might as though I have attainment and feeling and flavor in the work, and I'm willing to work unconditionally. Okay, which means, what does that mean? It means we don't care about the conditions. Because I tell you why. Most of the time, except choosing the environment, I don't have anything that I can really, that I can really decide upon in life. I can only decide the choice of environment, and then that environment becomes a mold which I can, fit myself into to be something. Okay, that's basically it. So if I'm studying virtually, and I studied with physical groups. In Sydney, we were a physical group. In Sydney, we were physical and virtual because we were in Sydney. Right? We weren't in Petah Tikva, and then I was in Petah Tikva with the main group there for 15 years, as you know, until COVID. And then after COVID, we closed up the center. So I moved to where the Turkish group is, to Turkey. So it doesn't really matter. Okay. What matters is, are we doing the best we can at every condition that's presented to us? Okay, otherwise we're going to complain about, well, I don't have the right conditions. Well, nobody has the right conditions for anything in life. We have to make those conditions. Okay, so it is a bit tricky, but that's just how it is. Okay, Ingrid, so we've got to work on creating a stronger environment. And I'm glad to say I had a virtual meal with the guys the other day, and it was pretty good. Okay, it's pretty much like we're sitting next to each other, because at the end of the day, I put them on the big screen, brought in the food, and we all ate together, said a few lahaims, it was all good. So, and when I go for a visit, like I did in Pesa, we had a meal, we had a get together, we had a barbecue at a friend's house, and it was like 2 tens together. We had a great time, meals, songs, talks, increasing the importance of the goal. So whatever the conditions are, we just have to do the best we can, okay? Because complaining doesn't really help. All right, good. I'm glad we're having a crowded group tonight. This is like 25 plus 14. Okay, so that's nice. That's 39 people altogether today. Very nice. Right. See you guys next time, and all the best. Take care.